You are a member of the genus Homo. You belong to a human lineage with a history of roughly 2.8 million years. And today you live in a world where the average life expectancy at birth is around 73 years. In the modern era, this feels normal. But on a historical scale, it is an extraordinary achievement, and reaching this point was anything but easy. When you look back, you realize that for most of human history, life was like walking on a thin sheet of ice. In 18th century England, life expectancy was 27 to 30 years. In classical Greece, it was 25 years. During the Bronze Age, around 26 years. And in the Neolithic period, it dropped to below 20. And you should never forget this. Homo sapiens was relatively fortunate compared to other human species. Because if you had been born 2 million years ago as a Homo habilis, the situation would have been far more dire. Scientific research suggests that the average lifespan of Homo habilis individuals was only around 12 years. And even that number is likely overly optimistic. The scarcity of newborn and infant fossils strongly suggests that infant mortality was extremely high, far higher than anything seen in the modern world. This implies that the true life expectancy may have been even lower than 12 years. In other words, you would most likely die before ever reaching adolescence. Homo habilis was one of the smallest human species ever to exist. You stood at roughly 1.2 meters, 4 feet tall, and your body mass was only about 60% of that of a modern human. You had no powerful musculature, no robust skeleton capable of absorbing serious trauma. And when you considered the powerful animals around you, creatures fully capable of killing you, it was a terrifying time to be alive. You also lived a partially arboreal lifestyle. You had not yet fully transitioned to life on the ground. Like chimpanzees, you climbed trees and moved between branches, but you were less capable than they were. This made at least one serious fall during your lifetime almost inevitable. And in that era, even surviving a fall with a few broken bones was often equivalent to a death sentence. Living in trees could have protected you from many predators. But you had a major problem. You ate meat. And with a body as fragile as yours, that meant you had to come down to the ground. Homo habilis was one of the earliest human species to show high levels of meat consumption. Your large incisors, thick mandible, and high bite force make this abundantly clear. This diet forced you to leave the safety of the trees on a regular basis. And worse still, you are not a hunter. You were a scavenger. You tried to take food from predators. With simple stone tools and limited physical strength, you attempted to share meals with Africa's most dangerous carnivores. In your environment, there were more than 30 potential predators. Among the most dangerous were Megantyrion, a jaguar-sized saber-toothed cat; Dinophilis, ranging in size between modern leopards and lions, often jaguar-sized; Homotherium, with large serrated saber canines, powerful forelimbs, a sloping back, and enlarged visual regions; and other massive Megantyrion-like cats with stocky, lion-sized forelimbs and powerful neck muscles designed for lethal biting. These animals didn't just kill you. To them, you were already prey. Carbon isotope analyses show that some saber-toothed cats regularly consumed Homo habilis. You were, quite literally, on the menu and nowhere near the top of the food chain. If you thought escaping the big cats was enough, you hadn't accounted for the hyenas. Pasha crocuta, lion-sized with bone-crushing jaws; Chasmoporthetes, running hyenas with cheetah-like limbs hunting in packs. These animals would not hesitate to eat you alive, would not allow you to escape, and, like modern hyenas, hunted cooperatively. When food on land became scarce and you approached water, another form of death awaited you: giant crocodiles. Crocodilus anthropophagus, literally meaning human eater. 7.5 meters long, 1.5 tons. Armored skin and a devastating bite. Fossil evidence clearly shows Homo habilis individuals being seized by the legs and torn apart. You might have tried to run, but could you really escape? There was no escape, and fighting back with simple hand tools was not an option. Around 60% of examined fossils show severe dental wear. Some individuals were not even 10 years old. Your teeth aged rapidly. The teeth of a 17-year-old Homo habilis were twice as deteriorated as those of a modern elderly human with poor dental health. This meant infection, starvation, and early death. And yes, you were not alone. In the same regions lived Homo erectus, a top predator, often found alongside large animal remains. Homo rudolfensis, larger and more robust than Homo habilis, with heavier jaws and teeth. Paranthropus boisei, with enormous jaws and molars. Some fossils suggest that Homo habilis was killed by other human species, and may even have been eaten by them. Compared to your relatives, you were smaller, slower, less intelligent, equipped with more primitive tools. In this struggle, you were on the weaker side. Despite the staggering mortality rates, Homo habilis persisted for hundreds of thousands of years, most likely because you lived in large groups, used simple tools, built rudimentary shelters, relied on numbers to reduce individual predation risk. But the reality never changed. If you had been a Homo habilis, your life would have been short, brutal, and profoundly unfair. If you are alive today, it is not only because of modern technology, but because your ancestors endured a world that was nothing short of hell. It was the worst time to be human, and no matter how tough you think you are, you would not have survived it. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next documentary.